Well, why do we need vegetable and fruits? Yes, they provide us essential minerals to our body. Then, do plants also require this mineral as we do? If they do, how do they get it and how it is transported in all parts of the plant? Well, the answer lies in today's topic that we are going to talk about transportation in plants. You all know during the process of transportation, a substance is transported to one place to another place. Water, along with minerals and food in the plants, get transported, that is, water and minerals from the roots to the other part of the plant, and food, that is synthesized in leaves, get transported to the other parts of plant. The main difference among animal and plant are animal moves but plant don't. Plant have many dead cells and hence they need less energy as compared to animals. Plant do require minerals, students, such as nitrogen, phosphorus, magnesium, manganese, sodium, etc. And the soil is there, the nearest resource for all these minerals. For the transport of food, minerals and water, plant have special structures and these are known as conducting tissue or vascular tissue. Vascular means vessels or pipe. So plants have separate conducting tissue for food and water. The xylem is responsible for conduction of water along with minerals, and that happens in one direction, that is root from the root to the upper part of the plant, whereas phloem conduct food, that is it transports the food from the leaves to downward direction as well as upward direction. Transport of water and minerals and food we will talk about in different topic. So first let's see the transport of water along with minerals. This happens through these two phenomenon, that is evaporation or transpiration, and second is root pressure. Students, xylem are a dead cell with no nucleus or cytoplasm in them and hence it forms a continuous channel or a pipe from bottom to top. Now during daytime, as we know that evaporation of water occurs. How we sweat to cool down our body temperature, so do plants too. Well, we all know that in the leaves there are several tiny pores which are called as stomata. And these pores are supported by guard cells, that opens and closing of stomata will happen because of these guard cells. Now during the daytime, because of evaporation of water from the leaves to the environment, the concentration of water in the layer of leaf decreases. And hence water is brought up through the xylem due to decreased concentration of water in those areas. Now doing so, water from the root is suctioned along with minerals in it, and hence the main purpose of this transportation of water is to distribute the minerals along the parts of the plants. As 95% of water pulled in this process gets evaporated from the leaves during the daytime. This suction or the pressure that arises due to the evaporation of water, you can understand with this picture, where this girl is pulling the red water or liquid in upward direction. So that suction that is created will let the water move in upward direction. The same thing happens in the plants during the evaporation. As this evaporation is not happening just for evaporating of water, but also this whole process is making the water and minerals to be transported in all parts of plant. So basically this evaporation word can be exchanged or replaced by the word transpiration. So transpiration is actually loss of water, but while doing so, the minerals is also getting pulled up along with water and getting transported in different parts of the plant where it is required, whereas the water gets evaporated. This transpiration pull is active during daytime, where the water gets evaporated, but during night when there is no need of cooling of temperature or water getting evaporated, the root pressure performs this important role in pushing water up in the plants. So now let's talk about this second phenomenon, which is root pressure. Now, as you can see in this picture, here root and root hairs around the soil are in contact. Now, in the soil, there is enough minerals and water present, and the root cells and root hairs are in contact with it. Due to the concentration difference of minerals and water between the cells of root hair and the soil differs, these water and minerals enters the cells of root. Let me explain you this way. As you can see here, the concentration of minerals in root hair is less. So minerals from soil will enter from the soil into the root cell. Now the concentration of mineral increases in the cells of root, and therefore the water starts to enter into the cell from lower concentration to the higher concentration. Higher concentration where in the roots, in the cell of roots, because the minerals is more in concentration now over here. This process is known as osmosis. I hope everybody remembers this. So osmosis is a transport of water from low concentration of solute to the high concentration of solute. Now root cells will swells up and become turgid, that is they exert pressure on the neighboring cells, and hence under this pressure water and mineral reaches the xylem of the root. You can see in this picture here, and to reduce this difference in concentration they are continuously pushed forward. That means from high pressure to the low pressure. This column of water continuously pushed ahead, which is sufficient to lift water up in shrubs, small plants, and small trees. And the combined effect of both, that is transpiration and root pressure, helps water and minerals to reach in the tall plants too. That we all have wondered how these plant gets water. So this was it about the transport of water in the plants. Now let's discuss transport of food and other substances in the plant. The food, or I will call them as sucrose, it is a carbohydrate, or for a simpler way I can tell you to remember material. the food, that is material which is produced in the leaf, is transported to each cell in the plant body. Plants also stores excess of food in roots, fruits and seed. How we stores excess of glucose in the form of glycogen in our muscles and liver. So similar to that. This transportation of food in plant is carried out in both the direction, that is upward as well as downward direction, by the phloem, and this process is known as translocation. As you can imagine, transport of food in plants would not be as easy as transport of water. Hence, they require some energy in transporting food. It is not a simple physical process but an active process which require energy and is obtained from ATP. You can see here sucrose concentration is greater in this part, and let's say it has to be transported to this part of the plant. Now here in this pipe like structure which is phloem, it will receive the food in the form of sucrose, but still it is not ready to be moving to reach here. So the neighboring xylem vessel comes into picture. Here, as these tissues are interconnected, water concentration in this area is low. So water will enter from lower concentration to the higher concentration because the sucrose is solute here and the concentration of these solute or sucrose is higher. So water will enter from the lower concentration of solute to the higher concentration of solute. And this process is known as, yes, osmosis. That's correct. Due to this, the cell become turgid and exert pressure to the neighboring cell. The food along with water is pushed and reaches where this pressure is low. And eventually here, that is where the transport of food was required. Water moves back to the xylem as the concentration here as reduces because the sucrose has given to this part of the cell. This process helps the phloem to transport the material as per the need of the plant. During flowering season, the sugar stored in roots of stem is transported towards the floral bud to make them open and blossom. So that was it about the transport in plant. Hope to see you in my next video. Until then, be curious.